Doc, with this last week of seeding games, just curious about what are your priorities? What do you want to see most in terms of whether that means resting players or et cetera? Just what do you want most out of this last week?
Health. I would say health, and then again, Andrew, I know it's a boring answer, but continuity as much as we can get it. It'd be nice to have as many of our guys, even if it's not in the games, but in some of our practices.
We'll move over to Ohm. You can go ahead, Ohm.
Hey Doc, you've mentioned how like real life has kind of impacted players and the NBA was starting to see it. I was wondering, in your experience, when you've had players deal with grief, what kind of impact does it have on the team? Can it bring them closer together?
Yeah, it can do. It always does that. It's never a negative thing. I can tell you that. I mean, the only negative part of it is the grief part that the individual player is going through. But close teams always come together in these moments, and it's great to have. When Terance gets back, you'll see some of that here as well.
Great. Move over to Tomer.
Hey, Doc. Obviously, Trez is a very important part of your team and crucial to what you guys do. But you guys have found a good, sort of lineup with Zoo and Jamichael at the small ball five with the second unit. I'm curious, how do you plan to incorporate Trez? Is it going to be a little different, do you think, because of the way guys have played so far, or what do you think?
No, I mean, Trez is possibly the Sixth Man of the Year award winner, So when Trez gets back, we're throwing Trez right back out there.
We'll move over to Shane. You can go ahead, Shane.
Hey, Doc. Good afternoon. I'm just wondering, all year, what have Kawhi's leadership qualities been like, and particularly the last few weeks down in the bubble as a leader?
It's really, his leadership is by example. I mean, he obviously talks a lot on defense, does a lot of things there, but I just think his work ethic, the way he approaches the game, and how businesslike he is, gives your team a calm almost. And I think that's been very effective.
Move over to Miriam.
Hey, Doc. Hope you're doing well. Hey, a question sort of on conversations about social justice. Obviously, certainly outwardly, the conversation has grown. But I wonder, in your time in the game, have teams internally, are they talking about politics and social issues more in locker rooms than when you were a player, when you started coaching?
Yeah, it's always hot times. There are certain times when I was a player where something happened that the conversation came up and then it usually faded away. I think this one is here to stay, hopefully. But there's so many more players involved now than ever before. There's so many of our young players speaking out, taking leadership roles. So we just what gives me a lot of hope is that it is the players. I mean, us coaches are always involved for the most part, and we're doing our thing and we're trying to educate our guys as much as possible. But I think what's been more impressive in this one is how willing the players not only want to get involved, but they want to lead. And if we're talking our future, our young people are our future. And the fact that they want to lead now has been very impressive.
We got time for a couple more. We'll go to Cameron.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon over there. Looking forward into the kind of the playoffs. You admitted it looks like you guys are really pegged for the Mavericks, facing the Mavericks once the playoffs get started. You admitted as much a couple days ago. How soon does the Magic or the Mavericks come into your practice? How soon do you start practicing for the Magic, or are you still just trying to develop that continuity as you mentioned a moment ago?
I think that'll come right when we know it's officially them. I mean, shoot, things can change drastically over these next two games. So we're not focused on anybody but the next game right now.
And we'll take one last one from Jovan.
Hey, Doc. Assuming Trez passes his 4-day quarantine, can we expect him to play on Friday? And what is the value in getting him as many reps as possible, I guess, as soon as possible with the playoffs, less than a week away?
Not as much as about Trez, it's about our team. It would be nice to kind of have our normal rotation at least one time in the bubble. Right? And we have to be the only team that has not had their normal rotation one game this entire bubble stretch. So it's been tough in that way, but hopefully we can get it for one game.
Hey Lou, the last couple of games you've been able to see some of the younger guys be able to shine through. How did it feel for you as one of the leaders of the team, one of the bench leaders, to see guys like Rodney Magruder hit that game-winning shot, or guys like Terance Mann step up in the clutch?
It's great for us. We have strength in numbers. We have more than enough guys that's capable of making those shots like Rodney showed. I think Terance has been doing a great job of pushing the pace for this team, getting us in our sets, creating havoc on the defensive end, picking guys up full court. So it's been great to see those guys have an opportunity to show their skills, show what they're made of, on the big stage.
Move over to Andrew Greif. You can go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Lou, I know obviously with Trez now kind of in isolation, hoping to join you guys soon. He said on social media several times that he feels like he's going to be really motivated to come into this, given, his loss, and that's going to fuel him. I guess, what do you expect to see from Trez at a time when it's got to be tricky, right? Like he's mourning, but he wants to be motivated too. What are you hoping to see from him when he's out there?
Yeah, well, he's back ready to work. Obviously Trez is a high energy guy. He's a guy that plays at a high level, extremely physical player, extremely emotional player. And so with some things on his mind, I feel sorry for the other guys on the other team.
Move over to Ohm.
Hey Lou, on that same token, you had talked last time we talked about how people should know that many of you guys were dealing with real life situations and mourning and grieving. I was wondering, what kind of impact do you think that will have on the team as far as so many of you guys coming back with heavy hearts? Will that help this team maybe get closer in a way?
Well, basketball is an outlet, the 2.5 hours that we out on the floor, that allows us an opportunity to kind of escape from the realities of what we deal with in our personal lives. And so we use that as fuel, we use that as motivation, instead of it being a distraction. We deal with those things when we're off the floor. We get an opportunity to step inside the lines. That's an opportunity to let our minds go, let our hearts be free, kind of let go of some of that grief, let go of some of that hurt, and bond with the guys. So I think that can be a positive thing for us once we play basketball.
And we have a question from Kyle down there in Orlando with you.
Hey, Lou. You went through, obviously, those 10 days. Was there some kind of interaction with your teammates or something that they did for you during that time you try to take and pay forward to Trez and try and keep him while he's in isolation?
Yeah, we're a tight group. So we spoke every day. We've spoken to Trez every day. Knock on his door, scream at him on the other side of the door just to make sure he's okay. If he needs anything, just to let him know we're there with him. And that's how this group has always been. When Pat was gone every day, we were in constant communication. When I was gone for a few days, we were in constant communication. Nothing is different with Trez. We were speaking to him every day, every other day, dealing with him and just making sure he was okay if he needed anything. And so nothing is different for him.
Just to follow up, does Trez ever get annoyed with you guys knocking on his door?
No, because he understands the intentions up here. He understands the intentions are right, and we just want to check on him and make sure he's okay, and just make sure his spirits are high. In that room for 4 days, I did it for 10. It can be rough. It can be a rough transition, especially when you're going through things. You're in an environment where you got to kind of deal with your thoughts, and so we just want him to know that he's not alone. We're there.
Great. We'll take one from Christina Pink.
Hey, Lou, a couple minutes ago, Terance spoke, and when I kind of asked him how the bench overcomes, kind of the moving pieces, he said you and Trez have always taught the group, like, what you expect in terms of the energy that you guys bring. How have you done that, and what are your expectations from the second unit?
I just expect us to be out, just to be sharp. Obviously when Trez get back, our group will be in full swing. Our team will be in full swing, but we've always been the group to play with high energy, be game changers, whether we need to go get a lead or whether we need to maintain a lead, just always being on one accord. We've always had the saying, one band, one sound, and, we try to live up to that. So everybody just has to be on the same page and make sure the communication is there.
Great. We'll take one last question from Tomer.
Hey, Lou, good to see you, man. I was just curious. Obviously, you guys have had guys in and out of the lineup, and you've played sort of in good bursts and in bad bursts. Do you feel like this team is sort of a flip the switch team, and can you guys flip that switch come playoff time if you need to?
Well, I think you kind of see it. I think you see us play well in spurts, and then You know, with the minutes and everything, you know, I think our coaching staff, they're getting ready for the big picture. I think mentally, we're getting ready for the big picture. And you kind of see it where we turn it on for 4 or 5 minutes, and then, you know, the lineups may be a little quirky. You know I've been on minute restrictions since I've been out of quarantine. As you can see, Kawhi and Paul, you know, they've been flip-flopping games. And so, and Pat's been sitting. So I know there's another level there. I know we have another place that we can tap into, and I think guys are getting ready for that.
Man, just wondering, your impression of the team so far. I know you guys have had guys in and out of the lineup, but are you guys sort of a flip the switch team? Do you feel like you have the ability to flip the switch when necessary? And is that a dangerous thing to have, good or bad, when the playoffs start?
I mean, I feel like we just, you know, we're focused day to day. I really wouldn't call it flip or switch team, but a lot of these guys have a lot of playoff experience. So, you know, I'm sure when that time comes around, you know, the mindset, things will be a lot different and a lot sharper.
Thanks. Good move over to Charlie Widows.
Hey, Terance, as you mentioned, there are a lot of vets on this team who have been in the playoffs, been deep in the playoffs even maybe. Has there been any talk about kind of the special opportunity that this team has to go maybe all the way?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we talk about a lot. We know what we're capable of. So like I said, we just take it day by day and try and sharpen our tools before it really gets into, you know, that thickness of the playoffs.
Great. We move over to Christina Pink.
Hey, Terance. Obviously, you guys have had, as Tomer mentioned, different guys in and out of the lineup, but the bench has kind of always been a spark plug for this team. How do you guys overcome that? How have you overcome it? And kind of what are the ways that you've noticed that you guys have been able to find some cohesion?
I just think we follow the leadership of, you know, Lou Williams and Trez. You know, those guys kind of taught us how to play when you come off the bench. You know, what type of energy you need to bring. What type of focus you need to have, and we feed off that. And you know, it's like kind of split right down the middle. Some of us are younger, some of them are older, so we kind of bring that energy that they need, and you know, they keep us focused.
Great, and we'll move over to one last question from Miriam.
Hey, Terance. I wanted to ask you about your jersey and the "I am a man" on the back. Obviously, just to kind of speak to what that means to you. It's fitting, of course, but I'm sure there's a meaning for you. And then also, just what are your thoughts on the NBA allowing you guys to wear those messages, and do you think that's an effective form of protest?
Yeah, well, first of all, it means a lot to me just to be able to, you know, represent that and show how I feel, you know, with things going on outside of this bubble. And then also for the NBA, letting us, you know, have the opportunity to do that and show people, you know, what we stand for and bring in conversations that, you know, won't get brought up, you know, on a daily basis. You know, just having that there, you know, people see it and want to say something about it, and it starts conversation. So it's great.